Florida Governor Ron DeSantis rightly gets a lot of backlash for his culture war related legislation. But maybe we focus a little more on what he's doing to further harm those who are already struggling financially in his state. Because he just signed legislation that would essentially exploit the poor, especially if they don't have enough money for a security deposit. Now, if you're renting an apartment, some of you might not know if you've never rented, you usually have to pay a security deposit and the first month's rent up front. That is very expensive, especially when you consider how much rent has shot up in price. Now, a security deposit really varies depending on the landlord, but in some cases it could be thousands of dollars. And the whole idea is that security deposit is supposed to help the landlord make repairs should you damage the property in some way and then move out, right? And so they would take from those funds to make repairs, and then whatever's left over, they refund you at the end of your lease. Well, now, thanks to this new law that Ron DeSantis has signed, the legislation was HB 133, and it allows landlords to provide the option of either paying a security deposit or pay recurring fees if the security deposit is too expensive for the renter to pay up front, okay? So the law does not establish any boundaries for those monthly fees. So they could be as low or as high as the landlord wants. Security deposits are expensive, and supporters of this bill have argued that the bill is a welcome change to avoid that high fee. However, critics of the bill rightfully point out that the bill could be used to exploit lower income families who have no choice but to agree to this recurring fee, which could become even more expensive than a one-time security deposit. Furthermore, unlike a security deposit, these fees are not refundable, right? So at the end of the lease, the renter would not get a refund of those fees, even if there was no damage done to the apartment, even if they actually went out of their way to paint the apartment before moving out. It's just, this is the kind of stuff, guys, that's happening, that if you care about the poor, if you care about working Americans, there should be some focus on these stories as well. Just a little bit, because it affects everyone in the state of Florida. But spectacle, everyone's hyper focused on spectacle. I get it, but these issues matter too.
They matter a lot more. Okay, so look, there's two things, and I'll explain what I mean by that. There's two different parts of the story. One is the emphasis on the different stories, because what I'm thinking of is DeSantis's so-called war with Disney, whether Disney is too woke or not woke enough, or it was just the right mix of slumber and woke. Okay, that's a nonsense issue that doesn't affect your life at all.
100%.
Fees that your landlord charges you affects your life 100%. Yet the press talks nonstop about woke and Disney, et cetera, and they almost never talk about these economic issues because they like the people screwing you on these economic issues. So let me explain this, now that's point number two, okay? On the substance of this, no one in the real estate industry comes up with a proposal where they make less money.
Right.
Period. It's never happened unless it was a mistake, right? But this is not a mistake, it's the entire industry saying we will all make more money if we do this. Now, how are they gonna make more money? They're gonna get it from who? You, if you're a renter, right?
In Florida, yep.
In Florida, period, it's obvious, that's the whole point,
and
right?
this will spread across the country, I have no doubt.
And they're asking for the people that they bought off, their politicians, that they donated to through campaign contributions, to pass this bill for them. So it's not a little thing, it's not in passing, it's not an accident, right? So do you think they're gonna do all of that so they make less money and give you more back? There's a 0% chance of that.
And let me tell you who exactly is behind this in Florida, so you get a sense of what we're referring to here. The Republican-sponsored bill was backed by the Florida Apartment Association.
Of course!
Which sued Orange County, Florida, they have an Orange County as well, for proposing rent control, as well as property tech companies like Rhino and LeaseLock. It's similar to a bill that lobbyists for LeaseLock helped draft leading up to the start of the 2022 legislative session. So there are moneyed interests behind this effort, and would you look at that? They got what they wanted.
As they do 100% of the time, okay? So they asked for this, it's obviously to make more money, but are they gonna try to sell it that way? No, when they go talk to the media, and the public, they're gonna say, this is to give more flexibility to the renters. This is, oh, look at all these wonderful things that out of the goodness of our heart, we spent a lot of money lobbying for this bill so that it could cost us money and could help the renters. And the media writes down, so it could help the renters. They were wonderful and out of the good. I mean, come on, guys, come on. Like, so anyone with a modicum of sense that's thought about this for 1 second knows that this is to take more money from out of your pocket. So what does DeSantis do? He loves it. What do the Republicans do? They love it. Why? Because of campaign contributions. Corruption 101. They didn't come up with it out of nowhere. And when progressives come forward with proposals, he says, no, I don't want any part of it. And sometimes they say if you're a progressive and you protest, they might even arrest you in Florida. But if you come with a check and you're a corporation, they're gonna pass this bill lickety-split for you.
So I want to just quickly talk about how this has already unfortunately spread to other states. LeaseLock is one of the major companies behind pushing this, and LeaseLock ended up having to pay a settlement in Maryland because, I want to reiterate, these recurring fees, unlike the one-time security deposit, are not refundable. So let's get to the Maryland settlement. LeaseLock's program effectively had tenants paying their security deposit monthly, but at the end of the lease, tenants got nothing back. Under this settlement, tenants will get their money back from LeaseLock unless the funds were lawfully withheld for past due rent or damage to the property. The settlement requires LeaseLock to return to customers the monthly payments landlords collected from Maryland tenants, unless at the conclusion of their tenancies, any claims were made with LeaseLock for unpaid rent or damages to the rental premises in excess of ordinary wear and tear. So luckily there was some action taken in Maryland. I don't think that would be the case in Florida. I don't know for sure, obviously.
No.
But I mean, it's very clear now. They will not refund those recurring monthly fees.
So guys, Maryland explains Florida. So and I know how businesses work. I'm positive of it, okay? So LeaseLock thinks, hey, we're not a random landlord that lives down the street for you. We're a giant corporation, they can't find us. And what's a logical thing to do? We just keep all their security deposits. And why is that logical? Because then we'll have more money and only a small percentage of them will fight back. And even a smaller percentage will win. By the time we're all done with this, we have a giant amount of money, they have almost no resources. We'll get to keep at least 80% of the security deposits and we get to screw them. That way we make more profit, right? Oh, it's a problem that it's technically illegal. Okay, we're supposed to give their security deposit back. Oh, I got an idea. Why don't we, instead of calling it a security deposit, calling it a fee, a recurring fee. And that way we can legally keep it. Oh, I got another idea. Why don't we just give campaign contributions to Republicans and some Democrats enough to pass the bill, and we'll go state by state, and we own all these guys. All we have to do is like smile at them, buy them lunch, and give them a check, a tiny little check that costs almost nothing, and we'll get to make millions more. And that's exactly what happened in Florida. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.